Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a course fit video for the 2021 Safeway Open. That is correct. It is the 2021 Safeway Open, the beginning of the new season. It's not even a day past the 2020 season ending. The Tour Championship just ended today, and we're already talking about the Safeway Open for the 2021 season. Usually there's a little bit of a gap from the Tour Championship to the Safeway Open, but not this year, not with the restart. And I mean, that's because of COVID, but you know, it's nuts. We have nobody playing from the Tour Championship in this event. So that's kind of an interesting thing because we typically see golfers from the Tour Championship playing in this event, or multiple players from the playoffs in this event, which we do have some, but no one from the Tour Championship. I don't blame them. Next week's the US Open, so why not take the week off? Anyways, what do I do in these course fit videos? If you haven't been here before, I go over the tournament fact sheet. We go through a course preview to see what shot shape is more prevalent than the other. Then we go into course history and then into grass stats. And unlike past course fit videos, I'm going to go through each price range and give you my favorite golfer based off a course fit. So that's what you'll see at the end of the video. You can see in the timestamps below, or not timestamps, in the description below, I have the timestamps. So go ahead, check it out there. So let's go ahead and get into this. I have the tournament fact sheet ready for you guys. You can go to this and look at it for yourself at the gcsaa.org. You find the tournament fact sheets at the bottom of the page. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. You guys, if you want to, go look at it. This tournament fact sheet's pretty short. It doesn't have a lot of information on it. So as I scroll through here, you can see, like, typically we can see how many bunkers are in play, how many hazards are in play, that kind of stuff, but they just chose not to, and that has a lot to do with the director of agronomy providing it for the tournament. So if you have any issues, contact that guy that you see on the screen. I wouldn't. Anyways, we have a par 72, 7,100 yards. That is a short par 72. Not a lot of long holes on this course. Like, sure, there are some long par 5s, but the par 4s, a lot of par 4s that I've seen in the 300 yard range. Not quite drivable, but pretty short nonetheless. So par 72, 7,100 yards. We're on Poana. It does say Poana / bent grass, but in all reality, if there's POA, and this course is known to be a POA course, but if there's POA prevalent, it is the more invasive grass. It will spread much faster than the other grasses. And I mean, it's basically a weed. It's going to sprout up at different lengths at different places. So it's a lot like Plinko on the greens. And I would want to target golfers that are good on POA, or at least good in California. Other than that, like, I really have nothing to add to this tournament fact sheet. Like I said, there's not a lot. Your architect is Ben Harmon from 1955. Redesigns happened with Robert Trent Jones and then Johnny Miller in 2011. I really don't know what they ended up adding to it, but obviously if you have course knowledge or architect knowledge of what Robert Trent Jones is good at or what he typically does, go look for it. Or if you know what Johnny Miller did in 2011, go for it. But everything that I've read doesn't show like it's that important. So tournament fact sheets was kind of short. Let's go ahead and get into a course preview. Last week, or I can't remember when it was, I think it might have been for the BMW. Actually, it was last week at the Tour Championship. I provided a 2014 video going through the course preview. What ended up happening is YouTube saw that it was a video. I got it from the PGA website, but obviously it must have been posted on YouTube. Anyway, there was a copyright claim on it, so I'm not gonna risk it. Eventually in the future, I would like to monetize this, but obviously at this moment in time that probably isn't going to happen, but I don't want copyright claims. So we're just going to look at basically the yardage book that we see for courses going forward. We can see a lot of things we won't be able to see is like, does this tree over here come into play, on hole 3? And if it does, then obviously we can't be hitting draws off the tee box. That's the only thing that I can't really see. But there is, like, this course, this website does have a flyover. So if you wanted to, you could go to the silveradoresort.com and check out what this little playthrough looks like. I went through it. I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary or crazy. So I ended up, here are the stats that I have for what type of shots you want to hit off of the tee. I have 8 holes where it did not matter. You could hit a draw or a fade. I had 4 holes that you wanted to hit a draw on, and 1 hole you wanted to hit a fade off of. So altogether, that's what? Actually, that's 13 holes. So I must be missing one somewhere. I would assume it's probably 9 holes where it does not matter what you end up hitting. So yeah, off the tee, not a huge difference, and we'll go through this preview and you can see which holes where a draw mattered and that kind of thing. On approach, it was primarily fades. So I had 5 holes where it didn't matter, 5 holes where you wanted to draw, and 8 holes where you wanted to fade into the green. That's off of approach. So that's no surprise. Typically, you want to hit a fade into a green where it's not tucked, basically. It provides the most spin, the most control, that kind of thing. But if you have a tucked pin to the left, you'd want to hit a draw. And when I say draws and fades, I'm talking about a right-handed golfer. So you can just flip that for a left-handed golfer. Draws are right to left as I say them. So that would obviously be a fade for a lefty, and so on and so forth. But those were the stats. Let's go ahead and look at the holes. Hole 1, what I ended up having was you could hit anything off of the tee. It was both. It was a draw. It was a fade. Didn't matter. Approach, though, if the pin is over on the back right, you'd want to hit a fade. The rest of the green, pretty neutral. Didn't matter. So I put a fade for your approach. Hole 2, it's a par 3, and there isn't any shot shape that's required. It's a draw or a fade. So that was both. But I guess in reality, I put a fade because, again, if you want to hit a ball close, hitting a fade is probably your best bet. Hole 4, what I had was a draw off of the tee. These trees, I think, do come into play, but I think if you're a bomber and you can hit a fade, I think you can hit it right over the trees, no problem. So it's doable there, but if you're a shot shaper, you'd want to hit a draw, and then it's a fade into the green just because there is a tree that is in the way of these front right or just right hole locations. You definitely would want to hit a fade. Scroll down to hole 4. Hole 4 I had, you could hit both. Anything off the tee, and you could also hit anything into the green. I didn't have one shot shape or another. Hole 5 was a fade off of the tee box, but the description says you can hit over the right trees. So I'm guessing you could hit a draw over these right trees, but obviously when the fairway slope the direction goes from left to right, the fairway will run out if you try to hit a draw and you hit it too far. Like say you hit it too far left, the fairway is going to run out faster than if you were to hit a fade. I mean, that's just logic. And then the approach would definitely be a draw, but I assume if you can hit far enough that these trees over here, you could hit a fade over, but I'm just going to go with the draw. I think most players are just going to lay up anyways, so they'll hit a tee shot over here, maybe a fairway wood or an iron, and then put one here and then go for the green from there. Your long hitters or your aggressive players will probably try hitting it over the trees here and find themselves here to have an opportunity to go for the green into. Hole number 6, 431 yards. It was both off the tee and both into the green, as in you hit a fade or a draw. Hole 7, 209 yard par 3. because you have this bunker here, we want to be shaping shots from left to right. So that was a fade. I mean, a draw, the only way a draw would work is if the pin was in the back left. So there's more pin positions you'd want to hit a fade or into this green. Hole number 8, I had both off of the tee. It didn't matter if you hit a draw or a fade. That obviously changes if this tee box here has these trees in the way, then it looks like a fade is preferred, but it's only 344 yards. So I'm guessing people are going to be hitting fairway woods or irons, so I don't think it really matters. Into the green, it also doesn't look like it matters, but it does kind of shape from front left to back right, so a fade would definitely be more advantageous. It's just really, I don't think it really matters that much. Hole number 9, we want to be hitting a draw off of the tee. Again, just like on hole 5, if you were to hit a fade, the fairway is going to run out, if depending on how big the fade is. But hitting a draw gives you so much more space. And again, I shouldn't say again, but it's a par 5. Hitting a right to left shot for a right-handed golfer, it just provides you more distance. And on a par 5, like, what's better? You want more distance. Going down to hole number 10, I had this as both off the tee. Didn't matter. Right to left, left to right. I would assume most golfers are going to be hitting a fairway wood, or your shorter hitters can obviously hit a driver, and it won't matter. Into the green, I had hitting a fade, and that was primarily because we have this bunker here. It looks like the green stretches out a little bit. Hitting a fade into that green is probably going to be a little bit more advantageous, but it's a short hole. Most golfers are going to have wedge. It's not going to matter what shot shape you hit into the green. Hole 11, I just had a fade just because of everything over on the right side. It's pretty accessible. Like, if the pin is back here, even if you hit a fade, you're fine in the middle of the green. So I think it's a fade all the way. Hole number 12, I had a draw off of the tee. But it looks like you could hit anything off the tee, honestly. But into the green, we have a shelf here in the back left. The only way to access that is by hitting a draw into it, or a right to left shot shape. And the rest of the green, though, a draw would be promoted no matter what. There isn't anything a fade is really going to have an advantage towards, except for anything on the right side. But it's a short par 4. I don't think it really matters, in all honesty. But I think, if you were to hit a low iron shot with a draw, you're going to be able to access that back left pin. And that's just getting cute. So it doesn't really matter. Both of these, the off the tee and approach, I think it's both. Going down to hole 13, 413 yards, I had both off the tee, and I had both shot shapes into the green. Did not matter. Hole 14, I had both off of the tee, as well as both into the green. But obviously you can see back here on the right, again, it's a 389-yard par 4. It's not long, so people are going to have wedges into this green. Shot shapes just kind of go out the window when that happens, so not something to really be concerned about. Hole 15, we have water on the right side. I would say we want to be hitting a fade into the green, and most approaches, I'd want to hit a fade regardless. Provides the most spin, provides the most control. I think a fade is preferred. And then our last 3 holes, it goes par 5, par 4, par 5. And on hole 16, I have both shot shapes off the tee, but obviously hitting a draw is going to be a right to left. Well, a draw for a righty is going to provide more distance, and why not get more distance on a par 5? But really, any shot shape off the tee would work. And into the green, we want to hit a fade, primarily because we have a bunker here on the right side, but it also provides a little bit more control. Hole 17, it's so short that it really doesn't matter. I have both for both, like off the tee and approach. Does not matter, because most golfers are going to have a short wedge into this green, and it's not going to matter what shot shape you hit. And then hole 5, I have a draw off of the tee as well as a draw into the green. Unless someone can hit the ball very far down here, where it doesn't matter what the shot shape is into the green, I think a longer shot, you're going to want to hit a draw just because it opens up more possibilities to getting the ball close. So like I said, I had 9 holes where it did not matter off of the tee, 4 holes where you wanted to draw, 1 hole you wanted to fade. On approach, it was 5 draws, 8 fades, and 5 that did not matter. So in all reality, this is a shot shaping golf course. It's also really short par 4s. So I think the guys that can go low shape the shot both directions. But I think in all reality, it doesn't matter. Just based off of numbers, you would want to hit more fades than draws. Just because you'd have more into the greens hitting fades. But again, I'm not going to spend any more time on that. I don't think it matters that much. Let's talk about the results over the last 6 years. So last year, Cameron Champ won, and he hits a fade. And I'm going to talk about fades and draws off these results. Let's first actually talk about scores and what we can expect. 17 under won it last year. We had 16 golfers 10 under or better. 2019, 14 won, and we had 13 golfers 10 under or better. 2018, 15 under won. We only had 8 10 under. We had over 20 golfers that were 10 under in 2017, the winner being 18 under. In 2016, we had over 20 once again that were 10 under or better, and the winner was 15. In 2015, we had the winner at 15 under and 16 golfers 10 under or better. 2014, we had 20 golfers 10 under or better, with the winner being 17. So what we can expect is the winner to be north of 15 under, which brings into birdie or better, the birdie or better stat. We want to find golfers that can go low, that can score, I wouldn't say at will, but can score pretty easily. So I would take that into consideration. As for the golfers and their shot shapes, I'm just going to tell you what they are as I go down. I'm not going to tell you their names. Well, if you're just listening to this, I guess I will. Cam Champ, fade. He was your winner. Adam Hadwin hits the both directions. He was 16 under. Mark Leishman hits a fade, 14 under. Charles Hall III shapes it both directions. Zach Blair hits a fade. Justin Thomas hits a fade. Dylan Fratelli, I don't remember. I think it's a fade. Cam Percy, I don't know, and I don't know Xinjun Zhang. 2019, Kevin Tway hits a fade. Ryan Moore hits a fade. Brant Snedeker hits a draw. I don't know what Aaron Baddeley hits. Sung Jae hits a fade. Luke List hits a fade. I'm not sure about Troy Merritt or Sam Ryder, but JB Holmes hits a fade. And those are right-handed golfers. 2018, Brendan Steele hits a draw. Tony Finau hits a fade. Chesson Hadley, I think, hits a draw. Phil Mickelson hits it both directions. Dillette hits a fade. Can't remember what Duncan does. And I think Colley shapes it both directions, but I'm pretty sure his preferred shot shape is a fade. I don't know the rest of these guys, what they hit. But we have a draw, fade, draw for Paul Casey. Michael Kim, not sure. Scott Piercy hits a fade. Johnson Wagner hits a fade. Kevin Na hits a draw. Cody Gribble's a left-hander who hits a draw. So that would be like a fade for a right-handed golfer. Chris Kirk hits a draw. Phil Mickelson hits in both directions. Justin Thomas hits a fade. So just the rundown there, it seems like more fade golfers are showing up in the top 10 than, say, draw golfers. And I can see it as I go throughout this list as well. I mean, we see Justin Thomas a bunch up there. Justin Rose hits a fade. We've seen Phil Mickelson up there. We've seen a lot of good golfers who hit fades. So I think a fade is a preferred shot shape, or a left to right shot shape is going to be preferred. So might be a little too much information for some of you guys, but if you wanted to really dig down deep, thinking about golfers who hit the shots from left to right is the way to go. Okay, let's go ahead and look at course history. So I have this sorted by golfers who are playing, and then also filtered by who's playing, and sorted by best course history. So we see a bunch of golfers here at the top that have only played once or twice at this golf course. That's difficult to determine what course history is, because it's just a one-time occurrence. I would like to see at minimum twice, but really my minimum would be 3 times. Golfers who've played this course 3 times. Twice is a good number, I guess, if it's back-to-back years. Like Xinjun Jiang is difficult to pinpoint, but I kind of like it because it goes from 37th to 7th within 3 years. It looks good. The rest of these guys who've only played it once, very difficult to determine that. So I like to take out the rookies, first-timers. Actually, let's look at the first-timers. Who is in this field has not played? A pretty good... Okay, so Sergio probably has played this course, but you're going to have to go further back than 2013. But really, you can see a lot of golfers. And that's weird that Jordan Spieth hasn't been here, but I would say Jordan Spieth has never played this course. So notable names: Jordan Spieth, obviously, Eric Van Rooyen, Shane Lowry, Brandon Grace, Sergio Garcia. I want to say Luke Donald, but he just hasn't been relevant. He hasn't been relevant at all in the last couple years, so difficult. Rafael Cabrera-Bello and Kiradech Afi Barnrat. Those are all your first-timers playing. Let's go the opposite direction. Let's take out our 0 and 1 golfers and find golfers who've played this at least 2 events or more, just to get a better picture of course history. Cameron Percy is at the top. He had a 7th place finish here last year, 26th place finish in 2015. It's difficult with Cameron Percy to determine how great his course history is. This, to me, is too much time in between playing this event to really be like, I know how to play this course. So I'm not going to give Cam Percy his due, primarily because he just hasn't played this in forever. Xinjun Jiang, it's interesting. I don't know what his price point is, but for course history, that isn't terrible. Brent Snedeker is your first golfer that has more than 2 events with course history. Best finish is a 2nd place, worst finish is a 57th. So there's a little bit of consistency there. Unlike Phil Mickelson, who has missed the cut, but that was last year. Minus that missed cut, he would have a 9.33 course history average. So we take out his worst finish, and course history looks fantastic. And I don't remember what was happening with Phil Mickelson last year. I'm not sure what caused his miscut, but he was a little sluggish in the beginning of the year. So Phil Mickelson, to me, has probably some of the best course history. And I'm not going to talk about the rest of the guys, but you can see we have Hunter Mahan, Harold Varner III, Ches Reavie, Jimmy Walker, Brendan Steele. Brendan Steele, back-to-back winner here, 2018, 2017, but really since, not very good. And then Emiliano Grillo, he missed the cut here last year. Without that missed cut, he has a 24th place average. Not terrible. Martin Laird, Luke List, both of these guys, yeah, pretty decent, but not exactly what I'm looking for. So I just wanted to pinpoint those golfers. Let me open this back up. We're not going to stay here. We're going to go right to the 2020 DK page. 2021, sorry. And we're just going to go. We already talked about course history. We were not going to talk about recent form. That's going to be in next, or in the StatFit video. Although I've been thinking maybe I should add this to the course fit video, although it has nothing to do with course fit. So maybe not. Just kidding. Let's go ahead and talk about POA events. Your best POA golfer. Okay, so I don't like to look at 1 event or 3 events. I only like, I like more than a handful. I want some good consistency when it comes to thinking about POA events and their average finishing position. So Matt Kuchar is at the top of POA events, followed by Jordan Spieth, Eric Van Rooyen, Brent Snedeker, Sergio Garcia, Jim Furyk, Keegan Bradley, Phil Mickelson, Brendan Steele. It's just a bunch of golfers you've already heard of and can already tell that do well at this golf course. And some of them are elite golfers or past elite golfers, like Furyk or Mickelson or Sergio Garcia. So no surprise there. My favorite out of this, I mean, I'm not sure about Matt Kuchar. If he's got his caddy situation under wraps, then I like him quite a bit, and he probably would have been my thumbnail for this video. But when you get an opportunity to put Phil in shades, like I'm gonna take it. So who knows how many more events we're gonna be able to put Phil in that position. So I took advantage of it. But either way, here are your top golfers with POA. Is there one that I like more than another? Yeah. Like I mean, I would pick Brandt Snedeker or Jordan Spieth. It's just, are either their confidence levels, high enough to trust them? And I really don't trust either of them. Last time I watched Brandt Snedeker, he's working on some weird swing mechanism in his, some swing thought in his practice swing. It just doesn't look good. He's wildly inconsistent. Jordan Spieth can't put 4 rounds together. There's some mental issues going there, confidence issues that I don't like Jordan Spieth. But Spieth, 54 events, 34.61. It's pretty fantastic. And a 27% clip of finding the top 10. At 9,800, he might be a better value than, well, I shouldn't say that. He obviously has the potential to be better than anyone priced above him. He has proven that before, but it's really hard to trust Jordan Spieth at 9,800. So, anyways, my favorite, probably gonna say Brandt Snedeker for POA history, but I don't know how much I'm gonna play him. I guess it's between Brandt Snedeker and Matt Kuchar. It's up to you guys. 2020 POA. I mean, we just had a POA golf course not too long ago. Wes Bryan is your top guy at 7,100. That might be a good price. Like, that might be a steal. Seamus Power's never been in the top 10. Neither has Sam Burns. So keep that in mind. Those are your 2 other top guys here with POA. But then we have Ches Reavie, Kevin Streelman, Brennan Steele, Matt Kuchar are all the next guys in top 2020 POA splits. So maybe we go with a Matt Kuchar, or gosh, I can't say Brennan Steele. Really can't. But maybe we go with a Matt Kuchar, great overall POA, like the best overall POA and pretty darn close to the best 2020 POA, regardless of how he has played, recently. It's definitely a consideration. So we went through the flyover, not so much the flyover. I'm sorry. We went through tournament fact sheets. We went through the hole by hole analysis with what type of shot shape you want to hit. We also went through course history, results, what to expect for scoring. Kind of looked at all the golfers that did place in the top 10, at least for the last 4 years. So with all that being said, I'll go through each price range and give you my favorite play. So in the 10K and above range, my favorite play, despite, the course history, overall POA, actually it would just mostly be the POA splits. It's going to be Phil Mickelson. So obviously he's the thumbnail. It's really close between him and Kuchar, to be quite honest. Those are my 2 favorite plays that are 10K and above for course fit. In the 9K range, so I highlight these golfers down here. For course fit, I'm actually going to go with Sergio Garcia. He's $9,900. That's a little too expensive, but if I'm going to pick a golfer in this range, it's going to be him. He is my favorite play. It's really close between him and I'd say, I want to say Doc Redman. I know he has a missed cut, but in all reality, like, it's just one missed cut. It was his first time playing. I'd have to go into the fine. Watch the DFS strategy video to see if a missed cut is worth looking for last year, the last year finish. But definitely I like that. Doc Redman hits a fade. He hits the ball really well. Great ball striker at $9,200. That could be a steal. Like him and Sergio, kind of the same type of golfer. I don't trust Brandt Snedeker enough, and I can't get there with Jordan Spieth at $9,800. So I think it's between Doc Redman and Sergio. I'm going with Sergio. Going to the 8K range, pretty small 8K range considering like looking at the 9K range. That's one of the bigger 9K ranges I've ever seen. But of the golfers here, without really looking at course history or POA splits, it's between Will Gordon. Actually, yeah, it's between Will Gordon, Mark Hubbard, and Cameron Davis. This is a good spot for Cameron Davis, in my opinion. I really like Cameron Davis. He hits the ball really far. Young guy, hits a fade. Like, I like Cameron Davis. Will Gordon, on the other hand, did really well at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. That's why he has this 33.33%, and that's why his overall POA split are good. But I like Mark Hubbard just because of how low he can score. Like, he is a scorer. So those would be my 3 picks. And I guess if I'm going to have to choose one, it's going to be Cameron Davis. Going down to the 7K range. 7K range is pretty large. Goes down to Christopher Ventura up to Denny McCarthy. So last time we saw Denny McCarthy, pretty good. Actually, I'm not going to get into really I'm not going to talk about each player. If I was going to pick a player from this range, I guess I would have to say my favorite play, man, is probably Patrick Rogers. Patrick Rogers is a California guy, hits the ball really far, really good putter. Not terrible splits here for your POA. And he doesn't have the best course history in this range. I just think his overall game is really good for course fit. Like I said, hits a fade, hits the ball far. I really like Patrick Rogers. And then the 6K range, obviously your largest range. It goes on forever. And I guess if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to go by 6K range, I won't lie. I didn't really look that deep into the 6K range. But as I'm looking through the players now, as well as speaking, I guess, gosh. There are some intriguing options, if I'm being completely honest. I have to put a filter on this because I just can't see enough. Go is less than 7,000. And I want to look at POA. Just straight POA splits. One event for Rafael Campos. I'm not going to really look into that. I guess I'm going to go with JB Holmes. You want to hit a fade off this on this course. Decent course history. A lot of POA events. Great POA average. 2020 POA is good as well. Scott Stallings is not a bad choice. Chase Seifert is intriguing. Missed cut here last year. But a very good up-and-coming golfer. Good POA splits. I think if I'm going with one, it's going to be JB. I want to select Graham Dillette also, just because Graham Dillette, before he got hurt, was really good. We have a past winner down here in Kevin Tway. But yeah, I'm going to go with JB Holmes. And I wouldn't be surprised if I play more than 50% of JB Holmes, which is gross. But now that I see that, I kind of have to. Kind of thinking about it. So that is going to be the end of my course fit video. Gave you some selections there. Talked about what kind of shot shape we want to go through. We looked at course history. We looked at grass stats. I think we have a pretty good idea of what type of golfer we want to find. So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in a StatFit video tomorrow. All right.